Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Prime Video's new action comedy starring Idris Elba and John Cena, Heads of State. Not to be confused with the Chris Rock film from some years back, Head of State. But this is Heads of State, and in this film, you have John Cena, yes, the current WWE undisputed champion. He is playing the president of the United States. Now, in any other time in history, this would seem odd, but for some strange reason, it didn't seem odd to me. Probably because the current real U.S. president of the United States is more of a clown than what John Cena would be. I would vote for John Cena as opposed to this gentleman, I would say, just to put it kindly. But John Cena is the United States president, whereas Idris Elba is the prime minister of Britain in this film. And the two team up in a buddy action film, comedy film. And for some unearthly reason, this movie worked for me. It was fun. Stupid fun, but fun nonetheless. It is a nice throwback to 90s action movies. You know, if this would have came out, let's say 1995, 96, probably could have slapped this in a movie theater and it could have made a nice chunk of change because it's that type of film that would exist in that era. As of 2025, you couldn't put this movie in theaters because it wouldn't have made $1. It honestly, it wouldn't have done well in the theaters. So it landed perfectly on Prime Video. This is where it needed to be. And this film comes to us from the director of Nobody, and I enjoyed Nobody. He also did Hardcore Henry, which was a weird movie but interesting movie. It's the type of movie that'll give you a headache if you watch it. I had to watch that movie like twice in order to get through it because I was getting an anxiety attack for one, and my head was hurting because it was shot in a first person point of view, you know, a POV video game style, and it was experimental. It worked for what it was, but I don't think you can sit down and watch a movie like that for two for 2 hours without developing a migraine. But that's besides the point. Heads of State is not that film style. This is a paint by numbers action comedy film. Very weak plot. The plot is very, very weak. It's not at any stretch, in any form, a believable plot. The scenario is ridiculous. You have two of the most powerful men in the world running around, and people, you're asking individuals not to know who they are. You know, they're trying to stay incognito, and it's the president and the prime minister. I don't see how that could work. But hey, whatever. It's a movie. The whole NATO aspect of it, and different countries are mad because information got leaked and people are spying on other people. Yeah, that's true. You know, but the way it played out in the film, like I said, it was cookie cutter. But you don't go see this type of movie or sit at home and watch this type of movie for the plot. You know, you're not trying to be enriched in any knowledge of global politics. This is just a straight up action movie, you know, with a few laughs involved. One thing that surprised me about the movie, this is not a John Cena movie. I thought John Cena was the star of the movie, and to be honest with you, it's more of a duel, you know, co-leads type thing, the way it's kind of marketed and presented to you. But when you finish watching the movie, by the end of the movie, you realize that this was an Idris Elba movie. You know, this was a film centered around his character, and that's not a bad thing. His character had a lot more to play with, as opposed to John Cena's U.S. president. You know, it wasn't much to go off of that. Other than the fact he's playing this former movie star. Picture Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone running for president type deal. You know, but it was a believable kind of thing the way they explained it, how he became president. He wasn't in these movies. He's not just a dummy who just so happened become president. That was always his goal. He just used acting in movies to gain popularity to help him in his political aspirations. And that made sense to me. It worked for the movie. I don't know if that can work in real life. I know Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California, but as far as being president, maybe not so much. But I actually like that aspect of it. And Idris Elba's character, the Prime Minister of Britain, him being a former, I guess, MI6 agent, I think he was, before he became Prime Minister, that kind of worked too. Once again, not really believable in real life terms of him wanting to make a change in his life and, decided, oh, you know what, I'm going to run and be the Prime Minister of Britain. So me and the woman I love can live a peaceful life, who is also an MI6 agent or CIA agent. I'm pretty sure they said it in the film, but it's blanking on me right now, which agency she worked for. And that actress, I can't pronounce her name. I can't do her name justice, but she's married to one of the Jonas brothers. Y'all know who she is. Very beautiful woman. One of the most beautiful women in the world, going off of a lot of polls, online polls and stuff like that. And she truly is, but she did an excellent job in her role as well. I enjoyed her. For a while, I thought this was going to be her movie, because she had a lot to do in this film, it not only acting wise, but action wise as well. And she held her own very, very well. Super impressed. But the main thing that I take away from this film is the chemistry between John Cena and Idris Elba. These two have worked together in the past before. If you don't remember, they were in the Suicide Squad together. John Cena was Peacemaker. Idris Elba was Bloodshot, I think his character name was. And I loved their banter in that film. I loved the way they were able to bounce off of each other in that film. It was very fun. And for them to take that chemistry and relationship and put it in this film, which is a different film from the Suicide Squad, just proved that they just have a natural chemistry with one another. Very fun to watch them on screen together. They really, you could tell in real life. I don't know for certain. I don't know if they're besties. They hang out, drink beers and whatnot together in normal life, but you could tell that there's some type of friendship there. There's some type of respect there between the two, and it is cool to see it on screen. I really enjoyed their camaraderie. It really carried this movie. Otherwise, this would have been a nothing film. Nothing. Like I said, the plot was weak, very, very weak. The action was good. They had some cool action sequences, but all in all, that not a really good film by the standards of a 2025 audience. But like I said to start off this review, this would play gangbusters in the 90s. This would have been $100 million grossing film in the 90s. I think I strongly believe so, because I've seen movies that come out around that era that were equally or not as good as this film back then, make some really good money, do well in the box office. So I had confidence that it would have did well back then, but nonetheless, we had to wait 30 years and this is what we got. But this was really, really fun to watch. Stupid fun, but fun nonetheless. Heads of State, which is currently on Prime Video, gets a letter grade of a C. Yeah, it's watchable. It's fun. If it's one of those movies that Saturday you just want to chill around the house, want to pop something on, don't know what to watch, go on Prime Video, watch this film, lean back, and just chill. Turn your brain off and just chill and watch. I would love to know, did you check out Heads of State? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Do you want to see a sequel? Heads of State 2. Let the heads roll, or whatever the subtitle thing will use. I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Heads of State. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.